Welcome to Entanglement Radio, transcendent talk for the conscious mind. Join us for inspiring conversations with visionaries in spiritual science, new thought, and conscious healing. Explore the potential and infinite possibilities of what it means to be human with some of the best guests in radio. At Entanglement Radio, it is all connected. Now, here is your host, Angela Levesque, on the OMTimes Radio Network.
You're listening to Entanglement Radio with Angela Levesque right here on the OMTimes Radio Network. I'm coming to you live today from the beautiful foothills of the Rocky Mountains here in Boise, Idaho. We are just going to have so much fun today. I have the amazing Sarah Nash on the program. She is a fellow OMTimes radio host. If you've not checked out her show, it is on Thursdays. It's called Radio Namaste, and it's at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on iom.fm. So, yes, she is also a reverend, founder of the White Light Express, and also my friend. And so if you've ever heard a radio show hosted where two people are very connected, it is a very fun show. So you are in for a treat. I'm quite excited. Next week, we have the amazing as well, Dr. Susan Shumsky. If you have any interest whatsoever in energy medicine, the chakra system, anything related, we are talking about her latest book about the third eye. So we're going to be talking about intuition and connecting, and she's amazing. I think she's written 11 best-selling books, and I've had the pleasure and honor of interviewing her before. And yes, so that will be a treat as well. And then the following week, we have Dr. Carl Greer on the program, and we're going to be talking about rewriting and retelling our stories. So amazing guests for the next 3 weeks. Yes, so today we are talking about the power of positive, focused intention. And like I said, Sarah is a friend of mine, and we are just going to have so much fun. And normally I do this short little monologue piece, but you know what? I kind of just want to get to the conversation today. So with that, let me introduce my guest today, host and blue-collar goddess of Radio Namaste. Sarah Nash is also founder and co-facilitator of the White Light Express and creator of Cosmic Triage, a revolutionary new healing modality for the mind and spirit. Editor and producer for 7 years of the Hiss Quarterly, an award-winning magazine that later merged with The View from Here. Her passion and dedication for authentic healing motivated her to explore alternative therapeutic methods, overcoming her original desire to become an adolescent criminal psychologist. With that, I feel very honored and blessed to welcome Sarah Nash to the program. Hey, Sarah, how's it going?
It is going so well. Thank you so much for having me on. I've really been looking forward to this. I truly have. I'm not just pandering to your ego, too. That's one of my favorite things to say. I am not stroking your ego. I really mean it.
Well, I was on your show, 3 weeks ago, and it was so much fun. So I can I'm just going to assume that this show is going to be as equally as fun. So I'm quite excited. You and I we're similar in a way that we do a lot of different things. We wear a lot of different hats in our life. We've worn many different hats in our past. So in order for people to really understand, if they're not familiar with you, tell us a little bit about your very diverse background.
Oh gosh, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I think I'm clinically diagnosed with ADHD, and that makes my life a lot of fun because I'm really a leader. I like to create a lot of things and then run away. And my shrink called me an escape artist. She's like, you've done all these really amazing things. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. I hope they're okay.
I would call you an ideas person. We need
a revolutionary, yeah.
Right? That we need people who can follow through, but we also need people who can get the ball rolling. So I think that's the positive spin on that.
Well, one of my favorite quotes of all time is from Don Marquis, and he said, an optimist is a guy that has never had much experience. And so I'm living proof that that's not entirely true. One of the things that I do want to talk about, though, is the basis and the foundation of my life. becoming an ordained reverend, becoming a Melchizedek priest, becoming an energy worker and a Reiki teacher master, Reiki master teacher. And, I've raised 3 children to adulthood. And I think that in and of itself, all you moms out there, rock on, babes, rock on. In this day and age, I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what your experience is. I don't care how many degrees you have. It's hard. In this day and age, it is really hard because these kids that are coming through, they used to be our teachers. And now they still are in some ways. But, now we get to go, yes, sit down. And they don't. What is wrong with them?
And then we give them an iPad and say, now will you sit? I don't do that, of course.
Yeah.
But
No. I did that with my grandson. My grandson, he's like 5 years old. He's like, he calls me Ginga. He's like, no, Ginga, this is how you do it. These kids were born knowing technology.
yes.
They really were. They truly were. But I've had a very, very difficult life. I'm not gonna, I don't beat around the bush with that. I tell people, oh yeah, you're adorable. I'm sorry that your babysitter, put you in a quarter once. And I do validate everyone. And because every experience people are like snowflakes. What affects somebody one time is not going to affect a different person identically. It's we all perceive the world through our own lens. And being an empath, I'm a natural empath. I really have this incredible ability to sit inside of people. And I can experience what they've experienced to some degree. I can see what they've seen to some degree. And given my own ability to be compassionate and understanding, in spite of all my sarcasm, because I really do use a lot of humor in my work. Cosmic Triage actually is about my inability to stay focused in a therapeutic environment for terribly long. It's a absolute miracle that I was able to complete. I went through this huge therapeutic process last year. I actually went through 7 months of intensive psychotherapy. And we're not talking sitting with a counselor like once a week for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. No. We're talking like 3 hours a day, plus journaling, plus, it changed my life. I came back from Burning Man and I went, my crown chakra was like blown wide open. I'm like, what do I do now? But Cosmic Triage started because I believed that people could just dump their hoopla. People love to hold on to their pain.
They do. And we've created a whole industry around supporting people to retell and rehash and go back and back.
Oh, I know. And so that's one of my things is that this started, I had this image when I used to teach in a women's domestic violence shelter. I used to come and help with the counseling sessions. And one of the things that I have with Cosmic Triage is what I call my trophy case. And imagine if you were given a trophy every single time something happened to you that was less than, good, right? Okay, we're talking from the time that your dad hit you, from the time that your mother abandoned you, from the time that your, uncle touched you inappropriately or whatever. I mean, those are just the little it could be from when your dog died. It could be from when you lost a child. It could be from when you recovered from breast cancer. It could be so many different things. But imagine if we had all these little teeny tiny trophies based on, the size of the horrific event and your interpretation of it. And we all carried it around like a Santa Claus in a bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you have all these people walking around with all their big trophies and their little trophies. So if you go to a soccer game with your kids and you sit down, you start lining up all your trophies, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people do this. They line up all of everything that happened to themselves, and they're like, oh, look at this trophy. Look at that trophy. Look at this. No, I don't want to look at your trophies. Okay, there's a time and a place for everything.
And then have you ever experienced the one-upmanship of, oh, well, you think your trophy is big. Well, did you see my trophy?
Oh yeah, no, I'm the goddess of that. I am the blue collar goddess of that. Oh, you're adorable. That's not a trophy. This is a trophy. This is a trophy. I was tied up and held for ransom and kidnapped and da 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 da. Yeah, you're adorable. I created Mars. Yeah, people love to do that. No, my pain is bigger and badder. My pain. So I thought, what if we went around saying, oh, my joy is bigger and brighter? People are like, ew, what? That's gross. That's stupid. I don't want to listen to your joy. Let's talk about my shadows and my horrificness and how horrible my life is. I'm like, okay, see that corner over there? Don't stand there. Come stand with me in the sunshine. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And so people call me a delightful goof. They have no idea what I've been through. And that's okay. You know that? That's really okay. I've been through it. I came out the other side and I'm way okay. That means if I can do it, trust me. Oh, and this isn't a New York trust me either. This is a trust me. If I can get through it, you can too.
Well,
but it takes.
Sorry, I want to say, because in the time that I've got to know you, and you and I have spent even a couple of hours in a day talking to one another, you've never rehashed that with me. You've never said, well, this is Sarah and this is how I got here and this is the story, and I love that. Because I don't know if I'm sure you're familiar with Caroline Meese, and she talks about woundology, and that, and that's really why people don't heal, is because they continue to reopen their wound and tell the story again and again and again, and that sounds very similar to what you're saying.
I was 18 years old, and I was sitting with a pastor of a new church, because I've been every religion. I've been Pentecostal, I've been Mormon, I've been, in fact, if I had a choice, I would go back to being a Mormon, because they're so flippin' happy. I was so happy.
You crack me up, lady.
But
we're almost on a break here.
I know.
The music will be coming up pretty quick. So when we get back, I got to rein you in a bit, because I want to talk about the power of positive focused attention. What is that? How we, use it in our lives, and why we should. So, because you said that was your passion, so
it is.
I would like to hear more about that. We are talking to the blue collar goddess, Sarah Nash. She's also host of Radio Namaste. We will be right back after this break.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Imagine receiving healing, vibration-raising energy as you listen to the radio. Energy that flows effortlessly to you. Imagine exploring all things metaphysical, sharing in an ongoing adventure. Join me, Karen Smoot, along with my co-hosts Lisa Victorson and Wendy Weber, for Immersion into Source, every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on OM Radio.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
All right, we are back here, and you're listening to Entanglement Radio with Angela Levesque, right here on the OMTimes Radio Network. My guest again today is Sarah Nash, and if you're listening to her cracking up like I am, and you'd like to know more about her, you can visit her website at namaste.com, and namaste is with an H, NAHMASTE.com. So, all right, so I need to rein you in, because I want to talk about the power of positive focused intention, because I know that this has been a huge part of your life, and you said it is your passion. So tell us first, what are we talking about? Is that like what we learned when we watched The Secret?
I'm going to tell everybody a secret. I There are two things that I have not done. I have not read The Secret, and I have not read A Course in Miracles.
Okay.
Okay? So, I mean, it's shocking. You heard it on Entanglement Radio first.
I've actually never read the book either, but I did watch the movie.
Okay, I didn't.
And I didn't actually like it, so.
Okay. The Celestine prophecy is probably about as close to the truth of anything I've read or seen out there, and that's that. Like at the very foundation, when people come to me and they say, "What do I do?" I'm like, start with the Celestine prophecy. If you can grok that, then you're halfway there. So, I mean, the secret is that there is no secret, in my opinion. And A Course in Miracles is called breathing in and out. Every day your feet hit the ground, it is a miracle. So that is where the power of positive focused intention comes in. Now, the reason that I brought cosmic triage into that is because when people are wounded, they need to be addressed. We can't just say, oh, I joke a lot about it, but it's not, okay? I have my good side and I have my truth side. And the truth is that when a little child comes to you and they have a boo-boo, you don't go, there, leave me alone. I mean, maybe some parents do, but we need to talk to them. But, we kiss it. We go, oh, look at that boo-boo. Or that's horrible. And depending on the boo-boo, we're screaming, calling 911 or, but we address that there is a wound, right? Mm-hmm. And then we dress the wound. But Taylor Swift's got this new song out now called Bad Blood, and you cannot put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. However, you can, when you're running into the ER, and when people run into me and they're like, I'm wounded, I don't ask them what size the gun was, what kind of it. That is not the time and the place for addressing those issues. And what we do is we give them a little shot of morphine and we tell them, okay, we get them stabilized. And that's what cosmic triage does. The power of positive focused intention is what happens next. The power of positive focused intention is you're going to be okay. You're in a lot of pain right now, as you should be. If you've been shot and you're not in pain, wow. You've got something else going on, okay? So let's address that people are in pain. How do we lift them out of pain? Because it seems to me that nothing unites people so much as hatred or a disaster, Mm-hmm. So, what happened when I was a child, we will talk about, and I wrote about this. I have it on one of my articles online. And thank you, by the way, for being so professional. I'm sitting there listening to you, and I'm like, ugh. I don't run my show like that. I'm like, hey, we have a break now. Everybody shut up.
Well, I've done this for a little bit longer.
Yes, you have. Yeah, you're amazing, by the way. Well, you really are. I love listening to you. You give good radio. But when I was a child, my mother took me to this church. It was during the 1972 Olympics. And I didn't know it at the time, right? Because, what was I, like 7? And she was really upset, and there were all these people in there, and they were praying. And I was really confused because I was like, it's Wednesday or something. It's like, why are we all at church? And it seemed really strange. And as I sat next to my mom, because I was like, well, Mom, what's going on? This little woman, this beautiful little woman, leaned forward and she said, well, your mom is asking God to help all the people at the Olympics. We're all asking for God to send angels and miracles, and we don't want any more people to get hurt. And I thought about it for a minute, and I asked her if she felt that, I should ask God too, or if I would be interrupting all the important prayers, right? Oh. And she said, very softly, she says, no prayer is too little for God, okay? And everyone is important to God, and I think God listens to the prayers of children first anyways. So I imagine that this God, this glorious old man in the clouds, with this long, elegant beard, was leaning forward as I asked him to listen to the prayers of everybody around me, because I figured it had to be pretty bad if we were all sitting in church and it was in the middle of the week and we were there instead of somewhere else. And I felt amazing. I felt amazing knowing that my little tiny voice would be heard and that I'd contributed something. And so it was at that moment, I think, that anchored because all hell broke loose in my life right after that. I mean, there was some stuff that happened before then, but, divorce is awful and whatever. But, from that point on, I have to honestly say that my life just became a tsunami of pain. And if it wasn't for that moment where I knew without any shadow of a doubt that God was listening, whatever God is, whatever this great big is and ever was, I knew that God was listening. And I knew that we could anchor ourselves in the reality of light and love. And I needed to teach that to people, because I gotta tell you, my life turned into hell.
And so you have this experience, and was that the thread that kept you connected? And so I want, when you say the power of positive focused attention, is that just essentially just keeping yourself anchored in love and light?
It's a little bit more than that. It's trusting and having faith that the universe has your best intentions. Because a lot of people walk out their door every day going, what the hell is going to happen to me now? They walk out there not trusting themselves most of all. Because, who are we if we aren't just a piece of God? And I know that I'm a blasphemer, and I was probably, tarred and feathered so many lifetimes I can't even count them all. But the bottom line is that we are a part of God. And if that is the case, if we care for ourselves in this manner and we have just that little, to me, that is enlightenment, stepping outside every day and trusting that people will stop at red lights, that the vast majority of us aren't going to hurt each other. I mean, we live in this world where we are not face to face anymore. We live in this world where we don't get to see each other anymore. And I'm a very unique being in that as an empath and as a psychic and a clairvoyant, I run on that interstellar ESP channel that a lot of people don't know they can also tap into. And I know that there's a lot more out there. I think that we really do love and care for one another, but because of this mistrust that certain organized, groups, and I won't talk about religion or politics, but what I can talk about is that we arranged our lives in such a way before we got here for our highest and best good. And when plan A doesn't work, there is a plan B, plan C, we have a contingency plan when things don't work out. And trust me, when things don't work out, there is a reason. There is a reason, and we have to trust in the highest and best good, which is even ourselves. But we have been taught to be filled with self-loathing. Don't trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to your elders. Well, no, because most of my elders are alcoholics and weirdos. And those people over there, they're not talking to me, because we have this inner caste system that says we can't really talk to each other. So misery begins loving company. And so we have these groups that are not there. We're congratulating each other on our victimhood.
Absolutely. And we talked about this a little bit when I was on your show, but going back to that thing of self-trust, and that is just so important, because we are constantly looking outside ourselves for the answers that we need to find within. So, and we have a society around us that supports that. Do this, don't do that. This is the how, this is the what you need to learn. And once you do that, then all of a sudden, your life is magical. As soon as you follow this guy's plan and this, personal trainer and this spiritual guru and that guy out there, as soon as you listen to what they have to say. And so that just takes us further and further away from listening to our own self and seeing what is it that I really need and looking within.
But not only that, sometimes we do make bad choices.
Yes, we do.
Sometimes we do make bad choices, and we've shamed ourselves and we've embarrassed ourselves, and that's okay too, though. And we haven't given. Now we're raising a society of children where they're all the student of the month. They're all, we're losing power over, everything in our life. We're losing power because there's so many what ifs in our lives. And it's interesting how the media shapes us and tells us, it's not okay to have a mistake. It's horrible, in fact. And so we've raised this generation of children that are entitled because they're all the student of the month. And it's sort of like, I used to be I was the executive administrator for the Children's Experimental Theater in Carmel, the Indoor Forest Theater with Marcia Gambrel-Hovick. And it was one of the most incredible periods of my life. But these kids would come in day after day after day, these very entitled, privileged children who had no business singing or being on a stage. And I think that we need to become honest with each other. We need to say, when somebody, does my butt look big in these jeans? Yes.
Yes, in fact it does.
Please don't wear that because you're going to embarrass yourself. When your child goes up there, and we're not talking the 5-year-old that hands you a picture of an elephant inside a boa constrictor. I'm quoting The Little Prince there. We tell them, oh, that's marvelous. That's wonderful. But if they're 17 and bringing you a stick figure and saying, isn't this really awesome? Unless, of course, it truly is and they're Picasso, you say, wow, no.
But how do we go from that place to, because doesn't that make people feel more shame or guilt or fear or willingness or less willingness to try stuff? Because
what is the intention behind it? What is the intention? When someone comes to me and says, Sarah, da-da-da-da-da-da, or whatever it is, my intention is to help them always. And that is why they come and they talk to me, because they trust me. If you're going to somebody and you're not being honest with them, chances are they're not going to be honest with you. It's all about the intention. Angela, I've come to you on a couple of occasions and I've asked for your advice. Why? Because I trust you, because I know your intention is for my highest and best good. See, and if we began believing and trusting in the people around us based on our experience, it's very difficult for us to trust parents who lie to us. It's very difficult for us to continuously trust a friend who lies to us. And we know it. After time and time again, who becomes the idiot then? Some people put the it in my yacht, man.
Well, you can hear the break music. When I get back, I want to kind of piece together the White Light Express as well.
Oh, yeah, I want to talk about that.
Power of positive focused attention. So we'll do that when we return here with Sarah Nash on Entanglement Radio. We'll be right back.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Entanglement Radio with Angela Levesque right here on the OMTimes Radio Network. If you're just joining us, we are talking to fellow OMTimes Radio host Sarah Nash, and her show, you can listen to it on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's called Radio Namaste. She is also the blue collar goddess and the founder of the White Light Express. So let's talk about that. And I want to, because I imagine, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, that the White Light Express, that's a completely different organization, was born out of this idea of the power of positive focused intention.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's one of my favorite stories too. My BFF, my soul sister, Avis Latone, and I used to live in Big Sur, and it was, raising I was not a single parent at that time, but she was, and it's all about life and the difficulties that we face and what have you. But one of our parting, it still is, as a matter of fact, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. Which is, pray for me. I'll pray for you. It was something that we would always say to each other as we parted, and people would hear it. And one afternoon, a mutual friend of ours was listening to us as we were parting, and she said, "Well, pray for me too." And we whipped our heads around. And we're like, "Absolutely, we'll do that." And we did, because we knew what was happening in her life. And by golly, her dilemma was solved. Boom. There's an energy that happens when people get together with a purpose. If the objective is clear, if the meaning is defined, there are definite measurable results. There is a program called the Global Consciousness Project, and they actually have a random number generator placed in different places, put in different places all around the world. And these numbers just go off, constantly. And when something really big happens, such as the tsunami, such as an earthquake, such as the Super Bowl, such as the inauguration, or the just different things that everyone in the world is focused on at a certain point, that random number generator starts spitting out different numbers. Okay. Mm-hmm. And this is just energy. This is just frequency. This is just vibration, right? And so one of the things that I talk about is that energy, that frequency, that vibration. Christians call it the Holy Spirit. Theologians, call it divine light, and I'm a Jedi, so I call it the Force. So
me too.
I call myself a cosmic evangelist. One, because I'm a cosmic angel, and I'm an angel to raise the frequency of all humanity to the highest level of compassion. And when we begin caring about each other, there's something that happens when we truly do send somebody a white light. I've done it on the bus. I've been sitting on the bus in Seattle. I went to go visit my daughter not too long ago, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm on the bus," because and everybody was like, "We're on the bus." And so I just decided, I had this moment of inspiration, like, wait a minute, I'm the blue collar goddess. We can change this song. So I started shooting love and light to this girl and this boy who were like in this argument. And but it took about 2-3 minutes, and all of a sudden they were all snuggy and happy. There were this little section of like 3 little old, beautiful, sweet little old ladies. God, I can't wait to be old. It's going to be awesome. Oh, by the way, everybody send me chocolate cakes and cookies. I'm turning 50 on June 10th. It's like my birthday. Yay. I'm 50. But anyways, these 3 little old ladies, they're like, and I'm just like, oh. And, pretty soon they all started like talking to each other, and they decided that they were all going to go have lunch together. They didn't know each other. I'm not making this up. I am not making this up. And in fact, I was telling, well, it doesn't matter. Anyways, I decided to start sending people love and light. There is an energy, a frequency, and a vibration out there. It is measurable. It is the thing that connects us all. I think it was Robert Anton Wilson, All Hail Discordia. He talked about the interstellar ESP channel. And that's, tuning into that is the frequency that we, the static that we hear will go away if you focus with a divine purpose. The White Light Express was something that happened when we decided, Avis and I, to start bringing other people in and focusing on one person a week 15 years ago. We took one person in our little group of friends on the internet, people we didn't know, and we put them, we called it the White Light Express because we built like a little boxcar image. And we figured after a while this train of light would, we were all hitched to one another. And so pretty soon, 3 people started focusing, and then 4 people, and then 5 people. And we had 50 people, 60. Now there's 902 people, active members that we know of, who gather. And we begin focusing on each other for the highest and best good. We have a community online. There's a praying app now. It's called InstaPray. I swear this is the greatest thing I've ever found. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's InstaPray. We have a group on InstaPray, White Light Express group. So from the new moon to the full moon, and it's not a cult, it has everything to do. If we have a lot of articles on the White Light Express community as well. If you go to whitelightexpress.org, that'll take you to our Ning community, which we're going to change pretty soon too, by the way, because I can't afford to that's the other thing. I got to start asking people for some money, man. Donations. We're going to become a church. It's expensive to run online communities. It really is. And I wish I could make enough money just to do it. So when I write my book this summer, people have to buy it so I can keep doing the White Light Express online. But because I don't want to charge people. You shouldn't charge people to pray. You should never, ever, ever. People, if anybody out there is listening, if somebody's charging you to pray for them, walk or run. Don't walk away. Just no. But it became there are tangible result. People with brain cancer, and oh gosh, by the way, everybody focus on my co-facilitator, Dina Anderson. She's gone through her second round of chemo, or her first round, actually, I think, of chemo, because her brain cancer is back. She's got more spots, and so we're focusing on getting rid of those spots. But we've had runaways return. We've had people released from jail. We've had jobs appear. We've had cars appear for people. We've had relationships healed. People are dropping into their hearts when they gather with right intention.
And so do all the people of the group, do you connect, at this day, at this time, and everybody focus then, or is it just over the day if people...
From the new moon to the full moon, we used to be very specific when we were a very tiny group, okay? We used to be very specific. We always walked at 1 as 1 or pray at 11, for 11. But now, because we're so big and so diverse, and because even though I'm big on ritual myself, I have an altar in my home with fire, earth, air, water, and that is my focal point. And everybody needs to do this, I truly believe, because if nothing else, it's something to focus on. It's like we don't really need tarot cards, we don't really need wands, we don't really need these things, but they are instruments of focus, and it assists with the ritual, and it assists with people people trust things that they can see and touch and hold. So it's like when you walk into people's houses and they have ancestor altars. We have altars all over our homes and we don't even realize it. And people get really weirded out with the word altar because it reeks of occult terminology, which is a shame, because everybody should have a sacred space in their house where they can call their own, light a candle, meditate. Maybe their best friend calls and they're having a really tough time. Maybe your child calls and they're having a really tough time, or whatever. Before you're going on your radio show, you light a candle and you have focused positive intention. You and I, we had a few moments of focused positive intention before we got on the air. I tell people my clients, especially when they're like, oh my God, work is getting so intense. Listen, you've got so many angels out there. You've got so many angels out there, divine beings of light and love. And whether you just want to call them, little sparkles, I don't care. But they will move that energy for you. Before you get in your car, sit down in your car, put on your seatbelt, and sit there and say, okay, light, love, safety, no harm or accident will befall me or anybody that I'm with. Surround me with light and love. Send angels into my office building. Help me with my test. There is no prayer that's too small. I had a client ask me recently. She's like, every time I go shoe shopping, I pray. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. And she's like, it works, Sarah. It works. I'm like, of course it does. There's nothing. And people need to start praying for themselves too. It's okay to pray for yourself. Please God, get rid of this pimple. It's okay. It's like we've been taught that it's shameful and wrong to pray for ourselves. We should pray for others. No. So our community, we have a Facebook community. We call ourselves the Guardians of the Grid. Right now we've got 62 people. That you can drop in. Anybody can join. They can just send me a request on Facebook, and then we have a community online at our forum, the Guardians of the Grid. And what happens is they send in the public will send in a prayer request, and myself and Dina are the only ones who actually read it, because some of them are pretty intense and very private, and they're destroyed at the end of every. We destroy all of because we print them out, and then we read them and we leave them on the altar space here, and then at the end of every month on the full moon we burn them all, because it's nobody's business and all the records are destroyed. We have some pretty confidential stuff come through, and I really honor and love that people trust me and know that I will. There's no judgment here. There's only love. And I think what happens, too, is that people are so afraid of judgment that they're going to the wrong people. And with regard to what we were talking about before, how do we bring our intention up to the highest and best good? We have to, again, trust ourselves and then trust the people that we're working with. And know that person has your best intentions at heart. Like every time I talk to you, I know you have my best intention at heart. I do.
Of course I do. Well, you can hear the break music. You know what that means. So when we get back, I want to ask you a few questions about how does one find their voice, and ask you a little bit more about the difference between a clairvoyant, a psychic, and intuitive. So we'll do that with the blue collar goddess here, Sarah Nash, when we return on Entanglement Radio on IOM.FM. We'll be right back.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
If you remember living fearlessly, joyfully, and in a world filled with adventure, happiness, pleasure, and unbridled living, then this show is for you. Join me, Dame Nicole Brandon, as I bring you the world's top experts in wealth, creativity, flow, sea-edging technology, space, wellness, health, love, lust, and passion, all merging together each week here at the Hub of Happiness. Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Passionate Living, where you can ride on the magic carpet ride of living and learn how to lead a passionately wild, exciting, and outrageously amazing life.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business, and share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business.
Radio Namaste leads you down the yellow brick road into portals of consciousness with the blue collar goddess as your host. Interviews with humans who could be famous or just popular, and answers to everything are on the agenda. Tune into OMTimes Radio and drop in on Thursdays at 3 Eastern. It's a different brand of enlightenment.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
All right, we are back, and you're listening to Entanglement Radio with Angela Levesque, and my guest again today is Sarah Nash. And this segment of the program, where we bring it all in home for you, is brought to you by Hestia Health. Yes, if you do not know who Hestia was, because she wasn't a very famous Greek goddess, she was all about getting your own center in order before you can go light the flame in your community and your world. So, Sarah, I want to talk to you a little bit about, you have used the words psychic and empathic and clairvoyant, and I like to use the word intuitive, but I'm probably sure that you're going to tell me something a little bit different, because there's something about the stigma.
Well, it's not very intuitive of you.
Well, one of the things that I think that there is, you've mentioned a few words today that have a lot of connotations that some people think are cultish or, just outside of their comfort
Really?
zone.
What are they? I'll say them more often.
No, well, you said the word altar, right?
Yeah.
Where people feel like cultish. So I feel that way about the word psychic. So tell me the difference between psychic and intuitive.
Well, truthfully, I think intuitive is just following a sensation and a feeling without really any tangible or visionary response. See, when I am intuitive about something, I get a feeling and a sensation. It's not concrete. I can't really identify it, and I just kind of go with the flow. It's like, maybe I will do this, or maybe I will do that. It's not sure. For me, as a psychic too, the difference is that I actually will get a vision. I'll get a vision. I'll hear a voice. It is outside of me. It is not a feeling that I have brewed up within myself, for someone else, or for myself. Being psychic means that you are actually tuning into something else out there that you can hear and see. Some people are clairaudient. Some people are clairsentient. Some people... when I was working for different police departments and what have you, I was able to pick up certain items of clothing, and psychometry will allow me to see certain things when I hold on to them. Maybe I'll see the white truck or the red car, or maybe I'll see the child and maybe get a glimpse of the person that person was with. I mean, to me, that's more than intuition. That's tapping into something that is actually visual. And sometimes I actually can smell, and being clairaudient means that I'm schizophrenic as heck. No, the voices are talking to me. And it's a shame, too, because luckily for me, when I was a child, my mother brought me to a priest. And, she's like, I think she needs an exorcism. She keeps saying that she, sees and hears things. And, I tell this story often because thank God for this guy. People make fun of priests and stuff, or it's sad that so much has happened, but it happens all over the place with regard to sexual molestations and those kinds of things. And I don't want to make light of that. But this particular priest was very beneficial for me because he shooed my mom out of the office. He sat down with me and he said, all right, so what's happening? And I told him, well, I talk to angels and I see this and I see that. And he just, he asked me a few questions and he said, okay, first of all, you have to stop telling people that you can hear voices and you can see things because you're scaring them. You're scaring them and they're going to think you're crazy. And he said, so stop, scaring your mother, stop telling people. And he said, but I want you to read this book, darling. And he handed me a little children's primer about Saint Joan of Arc. Mm-hmm. And he said, this is your patron saint. She's just like you. Now go be nice and say 5 Hail Marys and 3, Our Fathers, and stop scaring your mommy. He never said, you're a bad girl. He never said, he verified and validated that I was blessed but that I needed to keep my damn mouth shut. That does not happen to a lot of people.
Well,
a lot of people will hear voices and, hey, take a pill, drop dead Fred, there's something wrong with you. And I think that the vast majority of people who have been labeled as schizophrenic or something, I was listening to this radio show years and years ago when I was driving around. All hail radio. We love radio. Thank you again for having me here. But it was this psychologist said, I've had to step away from it because too many rational, healthy, quote unquote, normal human beings are hearing voices. There's something happening. This ascension thing is happening. People are becoming more and more awake, and they're not being told that they're crazy anymore. They're being told that they're psychic or clairvoyant. So the difference between intuitive is just a feeling and like a really, however profound, the knowing is a little bit different. When you're psychic, sometimes I get visuals. They're like those little, they're like little movies in my head. Sometimes they come like those little slideshows. Remember the little things that used to put up against your head, and you'd put a little thing, and it would, I can't remember what those are called, little clicky thing, and you get the images. Yeah. So I think it's a little different.
Well, I know that I'm psychic because I talk to angels and sometimes dead people and guides and.
This book I want you to read is about St. Joan. Don't tell anybody anymore.
But, interesting that conversation because I just didn't tell anyone when I was a kid. So I just kept it to myself because I kind of felt like people around me wouldn't understand. So I never said anything.
Well, and not only that, could you see auras?
No, that is not something that has
See, I took acid for weeks straight when I was 21, and as a result of that, I always see auras now. But see, I was born deaf. I'm deaf in my right ear. I don't know. I think that had a lot to do. I think in time, science will be able to explain everything that we're experiencing. I don't think it's going to be as unusual. You and I will be called doctors of transdimensional communication or something, because in 100 years, we're going to understand that, oh, so you've got the genetic, thing that allows you to smell something, then you see the image, and because of it's interstellar, who knows? I think that science will be able to stand up with us behind all of this. In the meantime, we're just weird as you know what.
I like to think that we are the next phase superheroes.
Yeah, we're X-Men.
Yeah.
We're the X-Men.
I tell this to my son all the time. I'm like, you don't even know what kind of coolness is going on here.
Right?
Well, because we don't, if you watch movies, people, who can pick up items like yourself and know the history of it and see, that to me is, Jean Grey or something.
Yeah, kind of. We are the X-Men, and I think the more this becomes, it's sort of like, thank God people are no longer afraid of love, and it's okay for a man to love a man or a woman to love a woman, thank God we're not making love against the law anymore, It's like that big gay rainbow over Ireland, yay. So I think that is a good example of how tolerance will allow, instead of burning us at the stake and hanging us and flaying us and tar and feathering us, people will begin to respect and honor these gifts. Some people can play a grand piano. Some people can see the future. And it's, the future's not set in stone either. And so when people come to me, I tell them this is a very Zen experience because you change your heart, you change your mind, you change your life. And that's also the power of positive focused intention. I know it works, and not only that, and I tell people this all the time, we don't all get to live our lives and assist in areas devastated by natural disasters or other accidents. It's okay to say, I'll pray for you, and then really do it. Just don't say you're going to do it.
Yeah,
do it.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, we have a few minutes left. I want you to have opportunity to share websites, information about White Light
Express. Oh, you did all that already.
No. This is how I leave my show, Sarah. You're not going to come on my show and make me change it, all right?
No. I don't want to do that. I honor you.
So,
okay,
share.
Sharing. I'm sharing. No, I just honor, imitation is the highest form of compliment. I'm going to start imitating you. I'm going to be like, la, da, da. You watch, listen to my show tomorrow. It'll be awesome.
Well, I forgot to do it today, but I was imitating you last week, and so I'll do it really quick now because I love that you do this. If you're out there and you're listening, I want you to tweet hashtag Entanglement Radio, and I will also be giving away a free intuitive reading at the beginning of every month. So next week, you have 1 week to do that. Hashtag Entanglement Radio. So there, I gave you a shout out last week.
That is awesome. Yeah, see, I want people to start hashtagging this stuff. Hashtag Entanglement Radio. Hashtag Blue Collar Goddess. Hashtag Namaste. Let's make this buzzwords because you and I know what's happening. You and I know what's going to come, what's happening later this year, and it's awesome. So we need to get out on the forefront of the conscious community and stay there because they need awesome people like us because we're real. Here, let me just toot my own horn a little bit. I'm not going to give you some song and dance routine. And if you want to, channel your Aunt Edna and she doesn't show up, but Cousin Bob does, that happens a lot in a lot of readings. One of the things that I'm really good at is channeling those who have died violent deaths and suicide. Oddly enough, my energetic signature tends to really have very good success, which is why I think I was really good when I did work for the FBI and for police departments. So I've been told by my attorney, by the way, that I can't say what police department anymore. So I used to say that. So. And
I connect more to the angelic realm, and I wonder if that's because my name means angel.
It does. Absolutely. There's an energy and a frequency and vibration attached to that, which is why I named myself Sarah. There's a reason I chose the name Sarah. When I turned 21.
We have about a minute left, lady.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Well, you know what? Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's do this again in the future.
Absolutely. So let me just say, so this was Sarah Nash. You can find her at Namaste, that's with an H.com. And coming up next, we have Equilibrium FM with Claire Johnson, and she's talking about your sensational sixth sense. You can hear me every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern right here on iom.fm. You can find out more about my services at HestiaHealth.com, and you can find me on Facebook and on Twitter at Hestia Health and Entanglement Radio. This is Angela Levesque wishing you love and light. I'll see you next week.